Hey guys, it's Weedy. Today we are going to talk about 5 mistakes strategists make that cost you your games. So, as someone who's hit Celestial, basically only playing strategists, I want to show you guys things I've seen my teammates do, things I've done that have totally thrown my own games. So, learning from all that stuff and everything I've seen, I am going to show you guys that stuff today. So, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is ult misusage. As a strategist, that is the biggest way you're gonna throw your team fights. You want to use these ults really well. There's a couple of things to keep in mind when using your ult well. First thing is keeping in mind, like, what do they have on the enemy team? As far as strategists go, do they have a defensive ult like a Mantis, a Loki, a Luna, a Cloak, or an Invis ult? How are you gonna counter those out? And then for the DPS, like Star-Lord, Psylocke, Spider-Man, Punishers, even Storm, for these high damage output ults, like, how are you gonna counter them? Do you have your ult in time? What are you gonna do? So thinking ahead. And then even obviously some Vanguard ults, like if you get Gru ulted or something, like, can you save your team? Most of the time you can just out heal some of the stuff. But if you're gonna get caught, and it is not a bad idea to throw down your ult just so everybody survives. So countering out other ults is really, really important. Use your ult to counter things to win the fight and not just survive. Another thing to keep in mind, and you'll see here in this clip in one of my recent games, is communicate with your strategist on who's ulting first. Double support ulting is a sure way to lose out on the team fight, especially if the enemy team has 2 support ults. Another way to use an ult that is kind of for these situations is to stall. So if you're really close to the enemy winning a point, you can essentially hold the cart hostage with your ult. So I ulted here to hold on to the point. My teammates are respawning and we end up doing a lot of damage here, but also my teammates are able to come back and fight instead of us dying and them reaching the point really quickly. The next thing we are going to talk about is playing too passive for ult economy. In this clip here, we had won the fight previously, and then I had my tank push up and just take a little bit of damage, so I was able to grab my cloak ult and then counter this Punisher ult. So make sure that you are always trying to charge your ult. Moving to our next point, prioritizing and balancing. Is constantly a struggle as a strategist. You can see me here fighting for my life. I'm throwing my Punisher the team up. I'm healing my Hulk. I'm deciding this Moon Knight needs to die because he's way caught out. Once we're all healed, then I'm switching more to damage. I get this Loki. Like, a million things are happening, but knowing how to balance keeping your team up, doing damage, and healing. Managing your cooldowns is super important as a strategist to make sure that your team has everything it needs at one time. So for Mantis, it's managing sleeping a diver, maybe someone who pushed too far, damage boosting your teammates, making sure you have enough heals by doing enough critical hits. So all of those things you gotta keep in mind. Right there, I slept that Spider-Man while he was about to ult, so those things can be extremely impactful in a team fight if you just stay on track of it. And the more you play these characters, the more it'll just become natural. If you have, especially a DPS with a really impactful ult coming up, don't feel afraid to combo your ult with them or pocket them like I'm doing here. My Punisher survived through a Magneto ult and being 1 HP, and then we end up killing everyone here and winning this fight. So combos are super, super powerful, especially with those ults. Which leads us to one tricking. I want to talk about this for just a second. When you're first learning the game, and when I first learned the game, I picked one character. I picked Mantis because she seemed cool and fun, and I just played her a ton and I learned the game. Totally fine. As you rank up though, it's gonna be less viable for you to just one trick. As I said before, Marvel Rivals is about counter picking. It's about kind of figuring out how you're gonna counter other abilities and ults and players. So having a good arsenal of strategists to play is really, really helpful. I suggest knowing 3 or more, knowing one that you're confident in to counter dive. A lot of times if there's a Spider-Man and my team isn't turning around and shooting him, and I kind of need to be self-sufficient, I'll play Loki. You got this L shift. If I start getting dove, even a Black Panther too, this will keep me up long enough that I can communicate with my team or get out of a bad situation. Sometimes if you're playing Luna, there's not a whole lot you can do outside of throw that freeze. If you miss your freeze, you're kind of dead. So keeping in mind, like, there are some people to switch to that still have good healing output. He's still got a great ult, and being comfortable on a few agents so that you're not just dying in the backline and then there's nothing you can do. So one tricking is bad. Also think about, there's another strategist on your team. Maybe there's 2. So what if they pick your character? What if that is the only character they can play? So keep in mind with that as well. And then as you get into Diamond and other ranks that are above that, you're gonna have bans. So if someone sees that you're one-tricking, or maybe they played with you the game before, they might target ban you, they might ban your agent, and then, like, what are you gonna do then? So keeping an arsenal of 3 or more, I think, is a good kind of way to make sure that you're always able to counter things, you always have a character to play, and you're pretty flexible. If you guys want a video on how to counter pick as a strategist, let me know in the comments so that I can make that for you guys. Lastly, let's just talk a little bit about when to know to switch. So when do you know it's you, or like when you know it'll be helpful? So I think you just need to take note of, are you losing the team fight because you're down a support ult? Maybe you're on Raccoon, maybe that team up isn't really doing all that it needs to do. Totally fine. Just make sure you're gonna switch. Don't be stubborn in that stuff. As a strategist, you have a lot of impact in the game, so switching to something can really change the outcome of your game. So maybe you're playing Cloak and every single time you ult, you're getting Magneto ulted and you died. Maybe you should switch to an Invis or Luna, something that is more likely to survive that. It's a little bit more in your control. So just keep in mind why you're losing, and then maybe how you can switch to support your team a little bit better. It'll make the biggest impact, I promise. And that's all I really have for you guys. If you guys liked the video, found this helpful, let me know. Give me a like so I know. Otherwise, that is all. I hope you guys take this up into your games and see a difference. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.